Hey guys, thank you very much for joining. This is part two. Physical activities you absolutely need to avoid, especially when you've started experiencing or once you have found out it is costochondritis you are experiencing. Here's what you need to do while the pain is at its peak or at its worst, or if you've just had a flare up big time. Stop doing the following activities in order to before it gets worse. Okay, so lifting any object bottom up, you need to avoid it. That means if you're lifting fertilizer bags or salt for the filtration system, or even if you are a dad or a mom and you have babies in your house, dogs, even if it's a lightweight, small breed, 10 pounds or so, still resist the urge to lift them bottom up. That motion, bottom up, with weight in your hands, held closer to your chest, that makes it questionable. So please avoid that. And if you are someone who's healthy, have been in a reasonably good shape, you have a strong core, abs and all, then you do something like a leg raise or the equivalent of that. So this is one of the things you absolutely have to avoid because you are on a bar in a dead hang position, and that means your pecs are stretched upward, they're pulling up, and as you raise your legs, you are causing an opposing motion at some point, even if it's just for a few degrees, for a few milliseconds, and the time when you get off the bar and get off the bar, it's all of that makes it conducive for that flare up to be amplified. So avoid that. Don't give it that room. Okay. Now, another thing is rows. Okay, you might think this is working your back and you're not putting any pressure on your chest. But if you're doing a single-handed dumbbell bar, so the chances are you are going to rest your other hand on a bench or something, and that means the weight is still squarely resting on that hand, the other hand. You want to avoid that, especially with costochondritis is mostly to the left. So even though you may not be having the weight in your left arm, which you will, because if you work the right side of your body, why wouldn't you the left, right? But even without having weight in your trouble side, which is left usually, um, it's you are resting your body weight on it, right? A good percentage of your body and the weight of the dumbbell, it's all falling on that arm. So please do yourself a favor and don't do any of that. Okay. Push-ups, again, anything that requires you to rest your body weight on your hands, you got to avoid that. Even planks, don't do them. You might argue it's elbow and it's not directly on my palms. No, just still avoid it. Okay. Shoulder presses, the same. Just like any chest press, shoulder press, stay clear. Arnold press. This is what caused my flare up. I was almost 95%, a good 90-95% healed had I not done the rotating dumbbell based Arnold presses. So each time I brought it down and rested it, on the eccentric and top of the eccentric rep, um, it caused that flare up. Basically, that was that one I could, because as soon as I did that, I felt it right away. I felt it right away. I just thought it was that discomfort because I healed from it is just, whatever. I didn't think too much of it, but I knew it was, I heard that, but by the time I could recover from that set, it was already too late, right? So please do not do any kind of dumbbell presses, Arnold presses, or any of that. Planks, like I said, it's the same, particularly when the pain is intense, or even after it has subsided significantly, still don't do that. Okay. Instead, do the cardio. You can do that. Cardio is something you should be able to do. Don't go crazy. Don't run, but you can do 2.5, 3 on a slightly inclined cardio treadmill. You should be able to do that, but after the pain has subsided. Okay. Washing the dishes. This may seem like really benign, really mild event, but uh, again, when you're washing it using both your hands, you have this tap, this faucet that's right in the center of you, right? So each time you're left, let's say for me, the pain is on the left side, right? So when I cross my hands across the center of my chest and to the right, that pain says hello. So when it does, you know, it took me a while to pay attention to that because that's what it was doing. So it just complicates it even more. You can't be too, you're thinking it's just a plate, it's just a dish, how heavy could it be? No, you're doing it for 20 minutes or 30 minutes straight, it's aggravating it even more. So don't do that, okay? If you don't know exactly what activity causes it, cut down everything that is causing any kind of physical exertion, except for, whatever things that you absolutely can't get away from, like you have to get done, you have to go to the bathroom, you have to get up and eat, you have to walk, open the door, you have to drive your kids, you have to drive yourself. Those are the only things. If you have a power drive, that's I can't imagine what it would feel like to drive a manual stick shift without any kind of power steering. So I don't have any experience with that with this paint. So I would only say if you can drive safely, because this actually puts you at a risk. If you're driving, if you can't turn fast enough, it just makes it even worse for you in traffic. So please don't do that. Take it, baby step yourself to recovery, and once you're in that recovery mode, you have to be extra careful. Okay, add one thing every time and see how it feels, and that's why I say baby step, and then add another step and see how it feels again. Give it some time, repeat it 2-3 times, make sure it's okay, and then increase the intensity or the volume. By that I mean weight or whatever. So, and keep repeating that, cycling through that again and again. Keep adding it before you return back to your normal life. So it's a painfully slow process, but it is possible. The number one thing that is going to be your friend is discipline, right? Don't check your ego. Don't let that get in the way. All ego is going to do is get you to flare up and cause new injuries. So please avoid that. Tune in for part 3 while I go through some additional things that you can do. Thank you very much.